Hello and welcome to LSU Baseball Tournament Update. I'm Patrick McGee and I'm joined by Wilson Alexander. We're here to talk a little bit of LSU baseball after last night's loss to Wake Forest. They're in an elimination situation, taking on Tennessee at 6 o'clock tonight. Wilson, looking back last night, it looked like early on LSU was catching some breaks and things were going to go their way. Then suddenly they just, everything kind of hit the skids. What did you kind of see in that loss last night?
LSU had chances to win the game, and it didn't capitalize, and then Wake Forest capitalized on its chances. It came down to just a few at-bats, really. These were two extremely evenly matched teams. Ty Floyd pitched really well into the sixth inning, where he sort of fizzled out, and the strike zone kind of shrunk on him mysteriously. And then, some walks and free passes ended up resulting from that, and, Wake Forest was able to tie the game. But it really came down to the eighth inning. LSU's got a runner on first and third with no outs. Trey Morgan tries to score on the ground ball. It's his responsibility there to go, but he doesn't make it in front of the tag. And then LSU has even then runners on first and second with one out, and Gavin Dugard grounds into a double play. And when you miss that, you could see that was going to probably be a problem because especially in the next inning when Wake Forest had the double and the single to take the lead there. It was just those few at bats in the eighth inning that turned the tide and really decided it. And now, as a result, LSU is in a really tough position as it tries to make its way through this tournament.
Yeah. Does it also say a little something about Wake Forest that they were able to overcome some really mistakes that you can't afford in those situations? They were able to kind of hold LSU in check from there on out.
Absolutely. This is the number one team and the number one overall seed for a reason. They have been really, really good this year. 53-10, I believe, is their record at this point now. They hadn't lost an ACC series all year, and LSU played them evenly. These are the only two teams that were ranked number one at some point during this season. LSU had it for 12 weeks. Wake Forest then had it the rest of the way, and so it was a really tight game, and Wake Forest just made that play at the end. They had some mistakes, but they were able to overcome it. They've got a great pitching staff. That was on full display last night, and they were able to get timely hits when they needed them.
Do you have any idea how LSU handles starting pitching and really the staff in general for today's game?
This isn't, LSU hasn't announced who it's going to pitch. Jay Johnson holds all that really close to the vest until the last possible moment throughout the postseason. My gut says Riley Cooper probably gets the ball. Jay Johnson trusts him. He's had a lot of College World Series experience. He's already pitched once in this tournament, but he's had a few days.
Shoot. We have lost Wilson. We'll see if he can get back with us here in a little bit. Again, we have LSU facing Tennessee in the elimination game tonight, 6 p.m. in Omaha. It's a game that neither team can afford to lose. If you lose, you're done. So it's a situation where we'll see if Tennessee's depth in pitching. And here's Wilson joining us. I'll see if we can put him back in the feed. Here he is. So that was rather seamless.
Here in Omaha.
Usually when I lose people, I lose them for good. So I'm just happy to see you come back. So we're good. Kind of moving on topics a little bit. The little bit I've seen out of Tennessee this year, I thought maybe they were a team that would be capable, one of the few teams that was maybe capable of losing that game one and coming back, maybe challenging folks and trying to get back in the title round. Does Tennessee's depth in pitching kind of help it? Little kind of in today's game and going forward, how do you see Tennessee stacking up coming into tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's probably going to throw a beam. It's pitcher there. LSU saw him earlier this season and was able to get to him. I think he only lasted 4 innings there in Alec Box earlier in the year. But this is a Tennessee team that's different from when it was at that point in the season. Obviously, in order to get to Omaha in the first place. So LSU's going to have to get to him. And if it does, then it's got a good chance against the bullpen just because Tennessee, it's not going to have Chase Dolander. It's not going to have Burns. It's not going to have Andrew Lindsey. Those guys have already pitched. And so if you can get Beam out of the game, then you start dipping into a pitching staff that, while talented, certainly is not – once you start to get to college bullpen arms, you have a good chance to put up a score. And so I think if LSU can kind of get him out of the game early, run up his pitch count, and start to get to the Volunteers bullpen, then they'll have a really good chance.
Yeah. What kind of vibe did you get off the LSU baseball team after last night's win? Did it look like they were feeling the pressure a little bit? I mean, how would you say their confidence level is coming off a frustrating game?
As soon as the game ended, LSU did its typical meeting out in right field like it always does. And then Jay Johnson gathered the players again in the dugout. They never actually went to the locker room, which was sort of interesting. They're usually supposed to go in the locker room, and there's open locker room to the media here in the College World Series. That didn't happen. LSU went straight from that dugout meeting onto the bus. And in that dugout meeting, Jay Johnson brought up two things. One, the 2016 Arizona team that he coached, which
And I'm in New Orleans right now. We're getting hit by a thunderstorm. He's in blue skies in Omaha. He's the one that's got technical issues. I think we'll probably have to wrap it up from there. We kind of covered all the topics we were looking to address anyway. I appreciate you watching. This has been the LSU baseball tournament update brought to you by Hancock Whitney. Again, we've got LSU playing Tennessee at 6 o'clock tonight in an elimination contest. No starting pitcher yet for LSU. No sure thing on who's going to be on the mound for Tennessee also, but it appears it's going to be Drew Bream, who pitched really well in the Super Regional against Southern Miss. So we'll see what happens tonight, but this is a winner go home for LSU, and we appreciate you watching. And as long as LSU can kind of keep playing in the next week, we'll again be back here talking LSU baseball. So again, good luck tonight to all the LSU fans, and I'm sure y'all be watching there in Omaha.